Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. We just started the live. I'm not sure if Instagram is going to cooperate, but so far, so good. So we're going to go ahead and start. I am Naima. This is my name sign. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a pre licensed therapist based in the CEO of the Deaf Mental Health Hub. A visual description: I have on a black 3/4 quarter shirt with silver snake earrings, black rimmed glasses, light skinned, and a slick back bun. I have a cream colored background sitting on a pink chair with a black desk. All right, now on to Nikel. Hi, everyone. My name is Nikel Best. This is my name sign. I'm happy to be back again. Now, I want to give you a visual description. I'm wearing a sweater with a blue and gray stripe. I have a cream background. I have short black hair, brown skin, wearing silver earrings, and I'm wearing my silver Apple Watch. Beautiful, beautiful. Again, I want to thank everyone who is participating in this community care in action and has been attending. By the end of this week, there will have been 36 participants for sign up. And just seeing how much this space is in need for the community, I've really enjoyed learning from each other and the tools and the live experiences and how we contribute to this collective care. I know that, politics are askew right now, and it's nice to be able to take a pause and listen to everyone, especially in our own language, having accessibility. It's nice that the community can have that, kind of like vodcast style. Thank you to the interpreter for coming through and the ones that have came over for the voiceovers. I appreciate all of the support in bringing this and my vision to life for the community. It's very nice. And with this community care in action, the goal is really to empower community members and being able to contribute the expertise, tools, and resources so that we can contribute while times are hard and the difficulties navigating how to apply these different resources in our everyday lives. It's definitely not easy, but this is a place where we can really, collaborate and kind of see what tools and resources are able to benefit us and what type of tips are out there and how to just build your toolkit. All the videos here will be posted on our platform and you can rewatch at any time with captions. I do notice that at the beginning, there were a bit of struggles with the streaming as far as the captions and the setup and all of the backgrounds that go into this. I do think that right now will be better compared to last time. But again, we are open to feedback. But I think I've covered all the points so far. So I will go ahead and give the floor to Nikel. Awesome. Thank you for explaining all that. It's very important to be collectively active in the mental health experience, especially with the nature of politics right now and having a space to just come together and understand one another. So today we're going to be talking about the environment, whether that's the approach of people, and we don't really want people to have feel like they have to be silenced. And people have trauma when it comes to mental health and we have to keep going. We really have no time to take a break and assess what we're going through and kind of confront what's going on. The world just keeps throwing things on our plate and then we just become more anxious. The depression becomes worse and there's nowhere to talk about it. It's really important that we have a space to connect with these things going on in life. And I want to be able to improve and get better so that we can put our best foot forward moving day to day. For instance, sometimes there will be people that sit together and they communicate, and you'll see some people that sit there and they don't add in their 2 cents. They just sit there quietly. And so maybe we should reach out to those people, the ones that seem quiet, give them a space and a platform so they can participate and make sure that we're not overlooked because oftentimes discussions are being had and proceeding, and we don't get to have a say so in those discussions. And forgive me, I'm going to look here at my notes really quick. So maybe there'll be messages sent out, right? And sometimes it might come off as negative, and it's not intentional to come off as negative. It's, I didn't mean to hurt you with what I said. Sometimes we just need to improve our approach. It's like, oh, did I say something that offended you? Was that offensive? And it's like, no, no, because you know how I communicate. I just said that when really I meant this. And in those communications with each other, it can improve future communications with one another. Because, with the stress of life, work, family, whether you're a volunteer, involved in organizations, wearing so many different hats, sometimes you have to put yourself first and say, am I being clear in what I'm outputting? Do I need to think about this first? Should I have a conversation about it first before I go ahead and put it out there? Because sometimes it might seem impulsive. Sometimes I might be overthinking and analyzing and putting my own negative spin on things, and that can impact what I'm putting out? Yes, yes. So what you just mentioned, taking a pause before reacting. Sometimes we're already going through so much and then we just outburst on one person or one situation when really sometimes we just need to take a pause and say, okay, what is it that I need right now? Okay, take a break. Okay, let's go through that and just check in, just review the conversation, go back and go over what's going on and what's happening, and maybe try to figure out where you got triggered from that. Yes, yes, definitely. That transparency, not hiding from your feelings, not holding things in. And from that point is how we can better gain clarity. So I didn't realize that you were stressed. Oh, that's what's going on. That's what's really behind all these actions. Sometimes they just need to be discussed and brought to light because sometimes you're judging one another and you're reacting with emotion instead of clarity. Yes, and like you said, sometimes being accountable, it's like, you know what? I didn't mean to throw all that on you. I was just stressed and I didn't mean to react that way. This is what I meant. This is what I should have done. Remember when you stated this? I felt like that. Instead of just saying, oh, you know what? That's your fault. Too bad. And just moving on, instead of just letting things build up and triggering, it's kind of like hot tea. When you are steaming some tea, sometimes you can overboil it and your water will overflow. Exactly. Exactly. It's very common nowadays in society to not take a break and just keep going through it. And it's not often spoken about sometimes. Sometimes it's considered taboo. Like, no, we're not going to talk about our emotions. We're going to keep those under wraps. We're going to hold those in. And that's really how things build up and we end up doing things impulsively. So it's like, why not talk about it? Why not face these issues? I know sometimes it's not easy to approach them. Sometimes the tension is high. Sometimes you have big anxiety. It's like, are they judging me? Are they listening to what I'm saying? Do they have negative thoughts? But sometimes just going ahead and expressing yourself, that's how you learn. That's how you learn about yourself. That's how you help other people learn you. And that's how you come to solutions to apply to the real world, whether it's college, whether it's after college and you're into your career. It applies in so many spaces, not just in mental health and self survival. It applies in an array of spaces. And it's just good to talk because that's how you find solutions. I know that mental health is not easy, but that's how we gain experience in facing those mental health struggles. The small things really do have a big impact, especially how we receive things, especially when it comes to accessibility. As far as being the only deaf person in a mainstream world, so many things are not made accessible to deaf people as is. Sometimes it's like I need an extra interpreter. Sometimes I might have a teacher and that teacher might be hearing and have no way or no understanding of how to teach me. All those intersectionalities are very challenging and we have to continue to be involved with the world and continue to educate them. It's a lot of educating, it's a lot of emphasis. Is it exhausting? Yes. But isn't it better to educate and show that knowledge and show that accessibility is important? And then maybe from the outside, there'll be more events and people will pull in more interpreters and that accessibility will grow. That's my strong belief in that. That's a step that we can take in that right direction. I know it won't be easy, but it does need to be done. That's just one example. There's so many more. Sometimes there's one-on-one access, sometimes it's public access. It's just we got to take hold of the reins and really take that responsibility and transparency, whether it be with your friends, family, in the community, whether you're doing volunteer work, whether you're in a strong collective that builds rapport. In those spaces, that's how we're going to figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to problem solve. It's going to be through conversation, true, raw conversation, putting our feelings out there and connecting with one another. And after that, we can have a better understanding. If we make errors on the way, that's okay. We make an error and give up. No, that's not how it works. We make an error and we fix it. We learn from our flaws. We are human. Humanity, we've learned over the years. It's took a long time to get here. We have a long way to go, but with that small impact, that's how we make change. It takes learning. It takes you don't take things for granted. It's okay to make mistakes, and then you can look back and see, wow, look at that improvement. Like we it used to look like that and we weren't really doing it right, but we are able to go through it, learn and not do it again. We were able to follow our beliefs and our values and connect and show people what our morals are and not feel so disconnected. That disconnect, it's better to face that and ask like how can we support you, you know? I know a lot of people can see that tension sometimes when it comes to communication and it gets so frustrating, but it's like, wait, once we make that small connection, that's how we make that. It starts with an emotional connection. It starts with a rapport. It comes with conversation and learning each other on a deeper level rather than just applying your own assumptions and going on with life. Because how do we improve from that? How do we improve from assumptions and just continuing on with our day? We have to connect. That's how we build home. And that's my belief. That's how I think about this. Yes, and I think it shows the importance, like you said, that shifting that mindset, it's easy to spiral. It's easy to get into our own head and our thoughts and just start spiraling and overthinking. And it's like, you know what? Let me take a step back. Let me see why am I triggered? Why did I respond this way? Rather than just blowing up on that one person. Or like you mentioned, you might see that one person being quiet. And it's like if you feel like something's off, go ahead and check in. Like, what's going on? What's on your mind? I'm just checking in. It's like be accountable with what's really happening with yourself. If you need a break, then say that. Take a break instead of not taking a break and just throwing it on to people and have them thinking like they did something wrong when really it's like, I didn't mean to do that. And then taking a step back, revisiting and saying, you know what, sorry, I'm going through it because, we are human. We're not perfect. 24/7, there's so many things that we're going through. And sometimes it's hard to avoid triggers, especially with social media. Things are just right there in your face. How can you really take a break from seeing all these things? How can you set up your media boundaries? How can you set up your boundaries with your friends? How can you set up boundaries with your family? How do you set up boundaries having those type of conversations, like right now, it's like, I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm not in the headspace. Then say that. It might be easier for some people to do that than others. It might be more difficult, for people that are considered people pleasers. It's like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then you're overwhelmed. And then boom, it's a learning process of shifting that mindset and really starting with self awareness and really being able to look inside and notice, okay, maybe I don't really like these things and I have to start realizing that within myself. I do agree. It starts with yourself. It starts with self-growth. There might be things that you don't even notice about yourself yet that you have to really tap in and see that in yourself before you can connect with others. Because before you connect with others, you know, within yourself, you might struggle with anxiety and your own traumas and your own depressions within your own body. And that's heavy. That builds within you. And it's important to kind of get that toxicity out of you and kind of release that. So then you can then feel better and more open to connecting with others. Because once you internalize all of that, and you might be considered put in the hot seat. And then once you're in the hot seat, you might just let all of that out. Everything that you've been building, getting it out, getting it out. And sometimes in that hot seat, it's not the best place. Sometimes it's better to maybe connect with a good friend that knows you better. And then you can get those thoughts out. And then from there, your friend will give you tips that help you feel, more in a more gentle headspace instead of just going through it all on your own, holding it all in. That's not going to go away that way. It's okay to connect with friends or family. It's okay to connect with community. That'll help you continue with the learning process and improving your mental health. That's really key. It's going to help you shift how your health feels right now. My mental health journey has not been easy. I had a hard time connecting with people. I was always very impulsive, always telling them what was right there on my mind. Why? Because I'd held on to so much, and throughout the years of going through things, I would just be impulsive, and I would just tell people how I felt in the moment. But then I would say, hold on, wait a minute, I've got to take a step back. And in taking a step back and taking that pause is when I was able to go through it and realize that this is going to take time. Learning through my traumas and my layers, I'm going to have to be flexible with my support. I'm going to have to talk about it. I'm going to have to face all of the things. It's not good to hold it. It's not good to hold it in. That's what's going to make it worse. Yes, thank you for sharing the importance in that, especially in the world where we have so much stress. It's so important to pause and change that mindset instead of pointing the fingers. Really, it starts with yourself and looking inward and seeing how you can become a better person in a world that's already so hard to navigate. It could be as simple as a smile or a hello or a how are you doing or how does your heart feel today? Just checking in. That could really make you look in on yourself and ask yourself these questions and apply these things to yourself. Give yourself a smile. Do something kind for yourself to build your internal rapport with yourself. And I suffered from having all types of negative thoughts. And shifting that mindset was by I shifted my mindset by spreading more positivity. In the morning, as I'm walking down the block and I would pass somebody, I'd say, "Hey, good morning." And from them, I would get a smile. And I take that smile from me, they take a smile from me, and we would spread our smiles throughout the day. And I took that mindset of wanting to spread happiness. Yes, I love that. And you guys there in the audience, you can try that yourselves. When you wake up in the morning, smile. And then when you leave your house, smile to someone else. Kind of start that ripple effect. So someone will see your smile and then maybe they'll go down the street and smile to somebody else. Just that small gesture that we can do in our day that in hindsight is something that we can control right now in a world where so much is out of our control. We are able to make changes just doing something small like this. Yes, small impacts for a bigger impact for the future. Yes, thank you, Nikel, for this is your second appearance, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be involved in this. We do still have the link tree to your past appearances. If you wanted to rewatch any of your videos, you can go ahead and do that. There are so many different prompts on there, and it's all more focused on shifting the mindset and how we can make an impact for those out in the world as well. Thank you so much again. Yes, thank you for having me. I hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you so much. Bye now.